Alright. Let's go. Thank you very much. You too. Breakfast check. Oh, it's too early. Finally, it feels good to stretch. I've been driving for about 3 hours now, and I finally came. I'm here, and I'm glad you guys are joining me today. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Horror Roadside Show. Today, we are in Stepney, Connecticut, right next to Monroe, Connecticut, visiting the famous graves of Ed and Lorraine Warren. If you don't know who the Warrens are, we're going to get into that in just a second. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because today's video is part 1 of 2. That's right, 2-episode special. Maybe for Halloween. It's like a Halloween special, I guess you would call it. Guys, if you're new here, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do me a favor, break out your Ouija board and summon up the like button. And if he gets out of control, flip the Ouija board upside down and pop out the Oculus on the planchette. Okay, that being said, guys, right here, we have new merch. If you'd like to help support us and buy, and you like our brand, you know, why not represent us and wear a nice cool hoodie or a t-shirt, or if you're a female, a tank top, or whatever you'd like. It's up to you. And also right here, we have our Patreon for people that want to help support us, and it really helps us continue to make videos and content just like this. And that being said, let's get into it. I want you to picture yourself in 1950s, okay? Just imagine it. You're in 1950s. There's no internet. There's no reality shows. There's only a few channels, for that matter. And you're home with your family or alone, and you feel your house is haunted. You feel there's something supernatural happening in your home. And You hear knocks at night. You hear strange footsteps. You hear whispers. Things move on their own, whatever it may be. Maybe you're possessed. Well, what are you to do? There's no internet, no TV. What you do is you call up Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed was a demonologist, and Lorraine was a psychic medium. And in the 1950s, they were the pioneers of ghost hunting and ghost paranormal investigating. And because of them, it started the path of what we know today. Ghost hunters, ghost adventures, Death Walker, amongst a plethora of other paranormal shows, even YouTube channels, including myself. So, I figured I would drive here to Stepney, Connecticut, to pay my respects to the Warrens and tell you a little bit about them. So let's go check out their grave.
I've always wondered just about that phenomenon itself, the moving objects. If, ghosts, because they're portrayed as something, you can put your hands through. And
what happens, Miggs, is that they can solidify the atmosphere to any extent they want. For instance, the White Lady of Union Graveyard, which has been seen hundreds of times by many people in Trumbull. Sometimes, in fact, there was one night when 3 transformers were burning down in Monroe. And firemen were called out, police officers were called out. They went out there, and one of the young firemen and a cop were in a truck together, and they were looking for a place to put up the horses when the cop yelled, "Stop the truck, stop the truck." He looked up, and there was a woman all in white, and they hit her, and she went over the hood and came back down over. Now, there's a convent right there, and he thought he must have hit a nun. He said to himself, "My God, I'm going straight to hell." Maybe she came out, and to see what was going on. They jump out of the truck, the cop and the fireman. They look around the side, nothing. There was a lady who was right in back of them in a car, and she's yelling, "What's the matter with you? Couldn't you see that woman? Couldn't you see her?" And the cop says, "There is no woman." She looks under the truck. She jumps back in her car, and she takes off. That was a solidification which occurred because the atmosphere was full of electromagnetic energy and electricity. The electricity was used to solidify this ghost to the extent it was almost like cement. A lot of times when you're in a haunted house and you try to walk stairs or come downstairs, all of a sudden you hit a block, a solid wall. That's because the atmosphere solidified to that extent. Only the other night, there was a case of where a family would go into this room and their sheets would be cut to ribbons. Pillows would be cut to ribbons. They were frightened out of their skulls because of this, because they figured, well, it could happen to the sheets, it could happen to us. So I was trying to figure out, how could that happen? What it does is to solidify part of the atmosphere into what we call a psychic knife. And it's so sharp that it can actually cut the sheets or the blankets or whatever. I received slashes on my arms from such a psychic knife.
So here is a monument for Ed and Lorraine Warren. It says, Edward Warren Miney, born September 7th, 1926, died August 23rd, 2006. His beloved wife, Lorraine Rita Moran, born January 31st, 1927, and died April 18th, 2019. If you're a fan of the Conjuring movies and you don't know who these people are, well, they are what the Conjuring movies are based on. They've investigated paranormal places and hauntings such as Amityville. I'm sure every horror fan knows that. Amityville, the Conjuring House, the Haunting in Connecticut, and the Enfield Poltergeist. If you know any of those, the reason why is because of them. Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were a sweet, sweet couple and they loved each other. They are true love. And I feel honored right here, sitting across from them at their grave. Now, Ed Warren Miney, so Ed Warren, was part of the U.S. Navy in World War II. And from what I read, something tragic happened to him in battle, and he was only one of 69 survivors of his fleet, which is insane. That's crazy. So, he always had a connection to the paranormal. From what I read up, it said that Ed Warren grew up in a haunted house, and I believe Bridgeport, Connecticut. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that gave him the push, that oomph, to want to investigate further. You see, what Ed Warren did that was different than, say, Houdini and other, psychics that would read tarot cards, palm reading, cold readings, table pushing, I think they call that, where they put their hands on the table and the table moves. He was different. Why? Because he would bring video cameras, audio recording devices, and still photos. He would take pictures. And he would go and investigate a totally unique, different way that set the standards for what we do today. And I can guarantee you that every paranormal investigator owes their oath to Ed and Lorraine Warren. This really isn't a big cemetery. There's a church right over here, which I believe has some ties to the Warrens. I believe they were either married there or baptized there or something along those lines. And this cemetery isn't big at all. Now, I've been here once before with Jenna. Unfortunately, Jenna's not with me today, but I knew where the grave was, which is good because I didn't have to look and spend hours being here. So if you do want to come here, it's in Stepney, Connecticut. And what you do is you come in, and that's the gate right there. So as soon as you come in, I'm parked right up along here. And it's, so when you come in, you just take a right, and it's along the tree line right over here. Right off the road. Beautiful, beautiful cemetery. Beloved son, Corey Michael Denlinger. Or Denlinger. Denlinger? I don't know who that is. I'm going to look it up. If you know, leave a comment down below. I'm not sure who that is. But let me show you something really cool. On the other side of this monument, it shows founded in 1952, the St. Michael Archangel. It's hard to see in this lighting, but believe me, there is inscribed into it is St. Michael the Archangel, and it reads right here, probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen written on a grave. It says, "Defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him. We humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the divine power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam throughout the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen." And down below, New England Society for Psychic Research, founded 1952 by Ed and Lorraine Warren. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they do have a nice bench here. If you want to come and sit, spend some time with Ed and Lorraine Warren, you can do so. Did you know why benches are in cemeteries? I'm going to tell you. So, cemeteries were originally a place for Sundays to gather with your family and have picnics or comfort of being with your loved ones who are deceased. So they would place benches here so you can spend a time on a Sunday and have it be very peaceful, have lunch, and hang out. That's why you see those benches. And this one is gorgeous. I love that. So, what do you guys think? Are you a fan of the Warrens? Have you heard of them before? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Have you heard of the Warrens? And if so, most of the movies you know about ghosts are because of them. Amityville, like I said earlier. So, let me know. Are you a fan of the Conjuring movies? Because I truly am. I love the movies. I think they're fantastic. I personally think that part 1 is the best one, my favorite. Part 2 was really good because I was always intrigued by the Enfield poltergeist. Now, I can't visit there right now because that's over in England. So, I would like to go out to Amityville. Can't go anywhere on the property. People say it's not haunted. Whatever. You know, it's still a part of American history for paranormal. Us horror junkies love it. I also want to visit the Haunting in Connecticut, which is in Bridgeport. Probably not too far from here. I'll come back another time and do that one soon. So this is a part 1 of 2 episodes. Right now, I'm going to take you to another location I think you're going to find rather interesting. So let's go. And before we go to that other location, something I like to do, show the beautiful things people have left. It's Jesus, a really cool skull with a hat, a cross, and some rocks. And that's what I'm going to leave. One for Lorraine. I can't get it to stay. And one for Ed. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for making my childhood a part of your world. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know about any of these cool, interesting places that I am so fascinated about. I truly respect you as a couple, as a people, and as paranormal investigators. Thank you for all you've done. Now this is the next place I wanted to take you. This here in front of me was the home of Ed and Lorraine Warren. This is where they lived. And you see that in the background? You see that separate part of the house? Well, that was their occult museum. That's where Annabelle was housed, along with all their other artifacts. And it does say, museum closed, police take notice, violators will be prosecuted. So, we are not going to step on the property. We gotta have respect for people's wishes. Now, Lorraine Warren used to have dinners here with people, and they would do investigations in the museum. And unfortunately, I'll never be able to do that because they are no longer with us. It is a beautiful home. There was a porch light on as well as a light inside the house. It looks like a little lamp inside, like what looks like a living room. But this is where they lived. It's beautiful. And everywhere you see it says private property, no trespassing. Private property, no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. So, I just wanted to show you a little bit of where they lived. Pretty cool if you ask me. I think it would be really cool to come here and visit the museum. You'd have to sign a waiver and check out all the haunted artifacts. Here's probably a better shot or angle of that separate part of the building, the house. Really cool. That is the infamous occult museum. Now there's something written on the door over there. I can't really see from here. But you can see there's a lamp on inside what looks to be like a living room, maybe a foyer. I think that's amazing. So cool. Well, that's it. Guys, thank you for joining me today. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Click the notification bell so you can get part 2 of this episode. Also, remember to break out your Ouija board and summon up the like button. And when it gets out of control, flip the Ouija board upside down and pop the Oculus out of the planchette. Guys, thank you. Once again, stay spooky. Till next time.
Who are you guys? I mean, what do people call you?
Well, we've been called demonologists. It's one name for us. Ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
Kooks.
Wackos.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.